Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson.
And I'm Maurice Dubois. First at 5 tonight, terror fears hitting home as President Obama vows to prevent future terrorist attacks alongside the French president. The NYPD vows to keep you safe at the city's major holiday events.
We have team coverage of the terror fears and also the extra protection. Let's start with CBS 2's Alice Gaynor and the worldwide team effort to take down the terrorists. Alice.
Christine, President Obama and French President Francois Hollande met today with both agreeing that more needs to be done to fight ISIS, calling on the world to help. The president says the two countries will strengthen their intelligence sharing. He says about 65 nations have been working to fight ISIS, but he took aim at Russia's efforts.
11 days after the Paris terrorist attacks that left 130 dead, the two leaders met at the White House.
We've never forgotten how the French people stood with us after 9/11. And today we stand with you.
They're urging the international community to come together to ramp up the fight against ISIS.
We want to gather all countries, all those who are willing to find and to implement a political solution in Syria.
French President Francois Hollande wants the U.S. and Russia to form a coalition to wipe out ISIS. But President Obama called Russia the outlier, part of a coalition of two, pointing to Russia and Iran supporting the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Russia has been hitting targets in Syria, but the U.S. says those strikes are hitting rebels fighting Assad.
President Hollande and I agreed that Russia's strikes against the moderate opposition only bolster the Assad regime, whose brutality has helped to fuel the rise of ISIL. We agree that Russia could play a more constructive role if it were to shift the focus of its strike to defeating ISIL.
Meantime, Russian President Vladimir Putin is lashing out at Turkey for shooting down one of its fighter jets near the Syrian border. Putin said today's loss is a stab in the back by the terrorists' accomplices. U.S. and NATO officials say the Russian fighter jet did enter Turkish airspace before it was shot down and that the jet ignored repeated radio warnings. President Obama said if Russia would concentrate its airstrikes on ISIS, the mistakes would be less likely to occur.
President Hollande now heads to Germany to look for support. Then he's going to Russia to meet with Putin. We're also learning French prosecutors are now saying cell phone data shows the suspected mastermind of the Paris attacks returned to the concert hall scene while police were still there. He was killed during a police raid days later. In the newsroom, Alice Gaynor, CBS 2 News.
Alice, thank you for that update.